Welcome to the Duckpin Podcast with your host, Brian Griffiths. And now, here's Brian.
When people think of mini golf, a lot of times they think of either the clown's mouth, or they think of windmills, or they think of the god-awful Caddyshack 2. But one thing that's been going on in the Baltimore area here for the last several years has actually been an organized mini golf tour, and something that I have played on, and the Duckpin has been proud to sponsor. So joining us on this week's episode of the Duckpin Podcast is the founder and the commissioner of the Greater Baltimore Mini-Golf Tour, Rob Cataldi. Rob, good to see you again, buddy.
Good to see you too, man. Thanks for having me.
Sure. Let's talk about kind of the history of the tour. This has actually been going on since 2016. So this is going to be the sixth season of the tour. So just kind of walk us through the process of like what made you think of starting a mini golf tour? You know, why mini golf? You know, it's like, how did we get to this point where you decided, hey, let's go ahead and start a tour?
It all started, it was like we were just going to do one tournament in 2016, and we started brainstorming, started getting stuff together, figuring out how we're going to do everything. And then as it started evolving, I was like, well, maybe we could do, one in this area, one in this area, one in this area. So that way we spread it out, and then it just snowballed from there. It just kept going.
Yeah. So the first season, how many tournaments were there that first season? I know I kind of found out about it late in that year. I played in like the last tournament, I think it was, of that year.
We had 4 the first season.
Okay. And since then it's been like 4 or 5 or so, right?
We usually try to do 5. And then the one year we did the winter tour, which made it to be almost 9, I think, that season.
Okay. So just kind of take us through the process of you picked which places that first year. I mean, obviously the first year things have changed over time. There's a lot more mini golf courses in Maryland than I think that people may realize. And there are ones that aren't in Ocean City. Everybody thinks of mini golf. They think of Coastal Highway in Ocean City, where you got 10 of them or whatnot. So kind of just take you through the process of kind of where you decided to play that year, and just kind of the thought process behind choosing those places.
Well, the first season we did Arundel Golf Park, which is my home course, which is probably less than 2 miles from my house. And then the other guy that helped me start it, he lives in Perry Hall. So we're like, well, we have to do one up in Perry Hall. That way we have those areas covered. Then we had a lot of guys from Pasadena. So we're like, let's do one at Pasadena. And then the first season, the other one was at Bel Air Golf, which was the one we ended this year on.
Right. And what's the relationship like? How did you approach the facility owners, the facility managers, and say, hey, we want to do this. We want to do this event there. How did you kind of broach the subject with them?
A lot of them, I just came to them and said, hey, here, we have this idea. We want to do a tournament. And they were all for it. I mean, you figure not many people are playing at, 10 a.m. when we're playing our tournament. So they were happy to see more customers in there. And then if, people driving down the road, they see a group of people there, they're naturally going to want to know what's going on over there. So they might stop, they might play around with their family, whatever. So it's like a win-win for everybody.
So the first season, obviously there were four tournaments. It's grown since then, but this is an entire tour setup. You have people, it's kind of like the PGA Tour where you're collecting points over, over the season. Your finish is, depends. You finish in a tournament, gives you points or a ranking going forward. And there's a champion at the end of the year. Now, obviously, everybody's busy. Everybody's got things going on. So you want to reward the people who show up on a more frequent basis. How do you go ahead and kind of split that difference between rewarding good performance, but also rewarding the people who have been there throughout the season?
So how we do the points is we do your round. So like, just say over that round, you shoot 72 over your 2 rounds. That's your points for the week. The goal is to have, at the end of the season, have the lowest amount of points. So even if you don't show up, you're getting something. You're getting max, which is 6 strokes per hole per round. You're still getting those points. So you still can keep yourself, if you come in and you wipe us clean, 10, 12 stroke lead on somebody, you still have a chance to work your way back up into the points.
One of the things that you've been able to do over the years is you see very prevalent in the PGA, also prevalent in sports like NASCAR and stuff like that. You've had sponsored events. So over time, every one of the events so far has been a sponsored event. How have you approached the sponsors to do that? You know, what kind of what has been the benefit you've been able to offer those sponsors who are sponsoring those events?
Well, speaking of the two worlds combining, you're talking PGA and NASCAR. I actually used to race, so I kind of went the same way of when I was racing. I was trying to get people to sponsor me then. You know, I just approach them and I'm like, hey, I try to give them, you're going to do something for me, I'm going to help you. So it's, you know, we always try to do, like, if it's a restaurant, they sponsor an event, they give us gift cards and stuff to give away. We usually try to do something with them afterwards, like get a group of us together, go there, have lunch, have some drinks. You know, it's kind of, you know, helping each other. And then it's a unique thing because who would think people are playing professional mini golf? I mean,
yeah, it's people don't kind of realize it. I think everybody sees what happens in Holey, Moley, and we'll get to that in a minute. You know, kind of about Holey, Moley and how this actually ties in with the tour. But you know, there has been for a long time now a mini golf tour, you know, I think I use kind of air quotes there, you know, around the country. And I don't think people realize the competitive nature. Of course, anything can become competitive. I think we both realize.
Yeah, that. You can become competitive at anything.
You know, but yeah, I think people kind of, you know, take mini golf and they assume that it's something that's done on vacation and not something that's done at the competitive level. So let's talk about kind of the growth of the tour over the course of the first 5 seasons of the tour. One of the more interesting developments, I mentioned Holey Moley, is that we've got an influx of guys from O Street Mini Golf in New Jersey. 2 of those guys have appeared on Holey Moley. So kind of walk through how you know, how your tour got hooked up with those guys. And I can tell you as a player who still plays on the tour, they've really kind of changed the entire complexion of the quality of play on the tour.
Yeah, it was I guess it was probably 2 years ago. I seen they were hosting a tournament up in New Jersey. I couldn't make it, but we started talking, and once a year I go up to Wildwood, which is close to Aaron and Evan and all them. So, you know, I was like, I'll meet up with you guys. Never got a chance to on vacation. Well, finally this season, Aaron came down and a few of them, Evan, Rudy, they brought people down and they wanted to play, and they played. I mean, you know how Aaron played. Aaron really, he makes you work for it if you win. If you can beat Aaron, you know you had a really good tournament.
Yeah, those guys came in and quite frankly kicked everybody's ass.
Yeah, you figure Aaron won the first 2 tournaments, and then Matt finally came in, new guy, finally came in at Perry Hall on the 3rd event and beat Aaron. And I couldn't believe it. I mean, and Aaron would have been our champion this year had he not, you know, the COVID stuff, and he finally got sent back to work. He couldn't make it down for the last tournaments, but I mean, he was pretty much just walking away with the championship.
So, yeah, I mean, how much does that, you know, how much do you think that affects the tournament play? I mean, obviously, anytime that you have an increase in the quality of play, you know, that obviously that rising tide will lift all boats eventually, particularly as it looks from the commissioner's perspective, not talking about it from your perspective as a player, but from, you know, as the event organizer, as the commissioner. How do you kind of capitalize on that rising level of play? I know this year for the tournament out in Carroll County at Island Green, there was a photo spread in the paper up there. So how do you kind of capitalize on that increased level of play to continue to grow the tour as we go through the years?
Well, I'm just, you know, I'm using that, you know, like we're starting to get, you know, a little more, like you said, the newspaper coming out and taking pictures and all that and writing the nice article on the front page of the sport page up there. You know, that was big for us, because up until then it was all, you know, mainly just local stuff, like people posting on, like you do on your blogs and stuff, and people sharing it on Facebook. But that gave us a whole new viewership, because people pick that paper up, they seen that, then they're interested, like, where can I play, when can I play? And, you know, as Holey Moley gets further into the seasons, because I know they just signed for season 3 and season 4, and they're doing the Australia one just wrapped up a couple of months ago, and it's on TV now. So it's getting more eyes on mini golf. So it's more people saying it, more people like, hey, wonder if this is going on around my area. Wonder if how can I get involved in this? So it's it's bringing more attention to us.
What would you say has kind of been the increase in attention with Holey Moley? I mean, obviously the combination of having Holey Moley players, people who've appeared on the show, playing with the tour is going to be a bonus. But obviously, anytime you get something like that, which captures the public's imagination, like you said, people are going to start looking for it. What have you seen has been kind of the increase in inquiries, increase in like Facebook metrics, that sort of thing for the Greater Baltimore Tour?
After the first season, probably actually when they announced the second season is when we started seeing more people seeing it, interested, like, maybe on Facebook searching mini golf tournaments, and our stuff's coming up, and then it's like, well, let me see how I need. So we had a lot of new players this year, other than the O Street guys from New Jersey. We had a lot of, people just happen to see us or like see our flyer at, because Perry Hall had a thing up about us. Island Green was advertising about us. They're bringing in more eyes, as well as stuff that we're doing on Facebook. So it's bringing more attention. So more people are seeing it. More people are interested.
Let's talk about the 2021 season rather, that's coming up. Obviously, last season, we still played a full season, if I remember correctly. I think
we played all. We had one tournament canceled, which was going to be our first annual winter freeze, which it's been pushed back. We're going to do it this year because right when our winter freeze tournament started, that was like when they started shutting everything down. It was like, I was hoping, it was outside, they would let us do it, but I mean, it was everything shut down. But all the other six tournaments were done last year. So 6 of the 7 we were able to do.
Right. Yeah. There were the 5 tour events plus the cash doubles event up in October, which somewhere on the other side of this green screen, I've still got my my third place banner from that thing. Yeah. over with still a giant, comically oversized banner from winning the tournament in 2019.
You have the only one that size. After that tournament, I realized how big that check was. And I'm like, I have to shrink this down some because
it was very difficult getting that in the car on the way home.
It was like Happy Gilmore when he gets his big checks and he's throwing them all in the back seat.
It's still just sitting in the corner back here because I honestly have absolutely no idea where to put it. I'd hang it up somewhere, but it's almost paneling at this point. But yeah, we got through all of that last year. So this year, the 2021 season is coming up, and I know you're going to take a little bit different approach to the 2021 season. So talk a little bit about what that's going to look like.
We're actually going to get away from so much as doing like the tour. We're actually going to do more cash paying tournaments standalone. We're still going to do some kind of point system to reward people that want to come and play everyone, but it's not going to be like in past where, it was like, you have to be there. This is going to be standalone events, but some kind of points to reward everybody that comes. But every tournament this season is going to pay cash.
Well, you obviously mentioned the first one, the winter freeze, the second attempt at the first annual winter freeze is going to be.
It's going to be an ice storm. I already can guarantee it. It's going to be March 20th will be an ice storm. Something's going to happen to stop this. It doesn't want it to happen.
I haven't looked at the long-term weather forecast yet, but I can tell you, remembering back to, I think it was middle school, I do remember an ice storm about that time on the calendar. So we're probably
coming this year, 2021.
And that's going to be out at Arundel Golf Park. So tell people a little bit about, how to enter, what the cash situation is going to be, how much to play, that sort of thing.
All right. That tournament's, like he said, it's going to be March 20th at Arundel Golf Park. It's going to be our first annual winter freeze tournament. It's going to start at 11 a.m., $30 to enter. You got to pre-register. No day of registration. It's going to be a cash payout. It's going to be determined. We're hoping to have it somewhere around what the doubles tournament was, which I think it was like $350 to win. Mm-hmm. Somewhere around there. It's going to be 2 rounds, like our typical tournaments, 2 rounds. And then hopefully first, second, and third place payout again.
Okay. So obviously the more people who show up, the greater the cash prize it's going to be, which is always a good thing. What are some of the other tournaments that are going to be on the schedule for this year?
Well, we got our second annual doubles tournament. It's going to be in October. Haven't set a date for it yet, but it's going to be at Mountain Run Mini Golf, which is up in, I guess it's like the Bel Air area.
That's a new one, if I remember correctly, isn't it?
It is a brand new course. It opened middle of last year. It's a very nice course. It's a Harris course out of New Jersey. They designed it. I could tell before I even asked who built it because of the bricks. It's standard Harris courses with the bricks. But as you can see behind me, we did a charity tournament up there for the Cool Kids campaign in October of last season. It was a foursome. We finished second.
Okay.
Lost by a half a stroke, but we did beat Ken Singleton of the Orioles.
Nice.
From the Oriole, we beat his team. And then September 4th, 2021. I know I've announced the date, but I haven't announced any details to what the date's going to be.
Okay.
It's going to be a first annual. We're going to do this every year. It's going to be the Maryland State Mini-Golf Championship. It's going to be at
championship. Okay.
I see a lot of other states have done it, and I figured we need to be hosting this.
Agreed.
So it's going to be at Island Green Family Fun Center, which is another hands down one of the nicest courses around.
I cannot say enough good things about that course and the way it's operated. It's probably one of the best courses around right now. I haven't played Mountain Green yet, obviously, but it's our family loves the course. Just to go play ourselves. It was a great course competitively for us too.
Yeah, I mean, they've put a lot of effort and a lot of money into that course. I mean, there's still, as you can see, when we were up there, they were doing the driving ranges to build suites, kind of like Topgolf, where they'll have, a TV and like some chairs and like a couch and stuff in there where you can rent one of those out, and just spend a couple hours up there knocking the ball around. And, they serve beer and wine, which a lot of places don't. So it's like a little perk, get you up. And then I think it's Saturday and Sunday, they have live music out on their little stage out there. And then I know food trucks right now, but I'm pretty sure that they're building a restaurant inside where the bar is.
That would check out, yeah. And their beer selection is fantastic too. It's not just like your bowling alley type beer. They got the good stuff.
No, they got. I mean, if it's local craft beer, they have it, and it's local wine, local craft. I mean, you can't ask for anything better up there.
So let's talk about this kind of how that tournament's gonna play out. Is that going to be one that's only going to be open to Maryland residents? Is that going to be, is it still going to be 2 rounds? What's the format of the state championship going to be?
That's going to be open to anybody, just like anybody else's state championship. We're hoping that it's the championship stays in Maryland, at least for the first one. We want a Maryland state champion to be from Maryland, but that tournament's going to be 4 rounds.
Okay, and all in one day.
All in one day. We're going to play them all in one day. It's going to be. We'll have little breaks and stuff. I haven't sat down and really laid out the day, but I'm hoping, maybe 2 rounds, have a little break. That way, if anybody needs to get something to eat, wander around for a little bit, and then we'll come back and we'll play the final 2 rounds.
Okay. Is there going to be a cut line?
At this time, we haven't really thought about the cut line. I've toyed with it. I've thought about, maybe doing 3 rounds, cut 1 round. That way you keep just the people playing that are really still in it. I mean, I'm not going to play in it. We don't need me to be 40 over and all the way at the back. So I'm not going to play in it. And I need to focus more on making sure that tournament being that big and something that we haven't done, it needs to be perfect.
That's a good call. It's definitely from the organizational perspective. So that's 2 tournaments. Is there anything else that's on the schedule right now, or you just kind of have an idea as to what else is on your schedule?
We have those 3 lined up: the Winter Freeze, the Maryland State Championship, and the doubles. I'm probably going to throw some other things in there, during the summer, because right now from March to September we have nothing in between there. So I'll probably throw some smaller tournaments in there. Nothing. I still have sponsors like we normally did and all that giving us stuff. So we'll probably do some smaller tournaments throughout the year. And then I'm looking at, the Tennessee State Open comes up in, I think, the end of May. So I'd like to go down and play that. And then the O Street guys got a couple tournaments up there that I like to go and play. Because I finally got up there the end of the summer and played one of their tournaments. And I was impressed especially with the number of people. I mean, you're talking, we're getting 18, 20 people, is a big week for us, where they got 46.
Yeah, they're playing like every weekend, aren't they? There for a while. They
play like a tour like we do, but then they do the they do cash tournaments. That's mainly where I got the idea of let's start doing some cash tournaments, because I'm like, people see a monetary prize and it's like, let me take my chance at, getting in that.
Yeah, that's definitely a lot more, going to attract new people, certainly. If folks want to reach out to you, want to know more information about the tour, how can they do that?
They can find me on Facebook, Greater Baltimore Mini-Golf Tour. I'm on Twitter. Don't look for me. I'm on there. I don't get on there very often. And then Instagram. I do a lot of Instagram.
Yeah, definitely. Rob Cataldi, commissioner and founder of Greater Baltimore Mini-Golf Tour. Thanks a lot for joining us this week.
Thank you for having me.
This has been the Duckpin Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and download.